Hello, everybody, and we are back once again for the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'm James, joined by my co-host Kaelyn, and let's get right into it. Last week, we had Bellator. There's no Bellator this weekend, but it was on last week, and it was the Grand Prix, light heavyweight Grand Prix going on, and we made picks for it. So let me go ahead and get that up. And let's start the card from the bottom. We had Paul Daley versus Sabah Hamasi. Me and you both picked Paul Daley, and that was an intense fight.
That woke me up. That woke me up. I wasn't even really, paying it. I didn't have my full attention yet, and then when it started, I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, same here. I was like, oh. Yeah, Paul Daley getting the TKO.
I thought he died first, though.
Yeah, he's one tough dude. I'm glad he hung in there, and I'm like, yes, I had him as a pick.
I'm like, man, this guy, crazy. It comes out crazy, and I thought that was it, but the ref didn't call it and let it keep going, and he got back up and finished it himself.
Like, I was so stoked about that because I was like, no, don't call it yet. Don't call it yet. I picked him. I
thought it was over. If I was a ref, I may have called it. I thought he was going to call it.
I understand that because he looked like he was down and out.
It looked bad. Yeah.
But the ref didn't call it and let him go. God. And he prevailed. Thank goodness.
Man, you can never get it right. Like the ref doesn't call it. He should have called it.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't call it, but I think most refs would have called this one early.
Of course, it's all to the referee's discretion and for the fighter's safety. So
that was a smart one. I don't know who it was. I don't remember.
They did a good job with that. I do not recall offhand who the ref was. There's a new crop of them that I'm starting to notice and kind of remembering because they mention them a lot, but I haven't picked up on it fully.
Man,
and then
in UFC, I mean, if the ref would have called that may have been normal, but also people would get mad if you let it go too. Like people don't make up their minds. It's different for everyone, I guess.
Very true. All right. And then now moving on to the female fight. Vetta Ortega versus Desiree Yanez. I picked Yanez. You picked Vetta. Vetta got the decision.
Yes.
So you got that. You got that victory. I mean, Yanez fought, but she didn't seem to put it together.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I was like, man, like, come on, please.
Something.
Yeah, just come on.
Yeah.
And nope, just progressed, and that's where we ended up with a decision victory for Vetta.
Yeah.
And then Corey Anderson versus, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that guy's name. Anderson. Woo!
What do you think about that?
Man, that was a big boy. He came out and he was ready to do work. I was like, okay.
I know. I like that.
I did too, and that's why I got the TKO win. And we both picked Anderson as well. Yeah, and then fight, and then the main event. I picked Nemkov. We both did.
Yeah.
But I was hoping that Davis would come out and do more, but he really didn't have the answer. So that's why he lost the decision.
Yeah.
And Nemkov progresses in the light heavyweight tournament.
Not that surprised though. I mean,
he's already beat him once.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would have liked to have seen Davis
do something new.
Exactly. I wanted to see the tide turn.
I wanted to see him want it.
Yeah. And we didn't get that, unfortunately. You beat me in the picks. You had 4. You picked 4.
I think. Yeah.
You picked all right. Yeah, you got the whole card right, or the whole main card right. I only picked 3, so you beat me there. And in the UFC,
but the best fight off that card is the Paul Daley one for sure, though.
Oh, that was, yeah, of course. That was the really most exciting fight of that fight night. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was, man, I should have been the main event.
But Bellator is off this weekend, folks, and they will be back. I want to say May 7th is what I was looking at.
Ooh.
To continue the light heavyweight Grand Prix opening rounds. But they're building up though to Romero versus Johnson. So
I can't wait for that one.
That should be exciting. Or it's going to be really super boring. Either or.
Man, dude, don't say that.
We'll find out when we watch. And we're going to continue onto the UFC, which had their fight card last week. And then this weekend is a pay-per-view, and we're going to go over those both right now. This UFC card, okay, the Whitaker fight, the main event, exciting fight. Great fight. Gastelum, even though he lost, looked good.
They both look good.
It was a phenomenal fight.
Yeah.
Every fight was a decision.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Going through this fight card, I'm like, all right, it's one of those nights, I guess.
Exactly. I was thinking the same exact thing. I was just, okay, let's keep going.
I know.
But to open it up, they had Violent Bob Ross. Oh, God, great. I love that nickname. Versus Alexander Munoz.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, we both picked Pena, and he did get the win. He looked really good. But Munoz hung in there. Munoz was tough.
Yeah, he did. He was tough.
And he was willing to fight in the pocket. And so I was really surprised. It was a split decision. So it could have really gone either way. But Pena did get the win, which thank goodness, because that's who we picked. But
I think he had the edge, though.
Munoz will just go in there and go. So
you have to, yeah.
So this fight to me was like the second best fight besides the main event. I really did enjoy this bout.
Yeah.
When look a little deeper on this bout, especially when you have Munoz scoring 4 takedowns. That's why I thought Munoz won. But then,
he could. I guess it depends how you see it. How those judges score that.
Very much so. He also has beautiful hair still. I just want to put that out there. He must use Pantene Pro V. But Violent Bob Ross had really handled it in the striking department, even though Munoz was tough as nails and got the win.
It's about time.
I wonder what they're going to do now, because neither of these fighters are ranked. So
I know.
How far is this going to push Pena into the mix?
I mean, he was in the mix, and then he started losing, and then now it's good that he got this one. But I don't know what's next for him. Either of them. I don't know.
Well, hopefully he paints another picture with his fists. Happy trees. Happy trees.
That was like that's like something you would say for like a closing like a closing documentary or something.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
It's Violent Bob Ross, one of the best nicknames ever. Some of these nicknames, I'm like, that's amazing. I love it. I dig it. Now, a fight that we didn't even get a chance to pick for, because a previous fight that we did have a pick for was scratched from the card, and then this moved up, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about it, which was Tracy Cortez versus Justine Kish.
Yeah, I like Tracy Cortez. She came from the Contender Series. She did really good there. So I've been watching her ever since then. She's been pretty good. I like her. I would usually pick her. Justine Kish, I haven't seen her fight too much. I know of her, but I don't know too much about her.
Kish, I was like, man, she's ripped. Whoa.
She is, yeah.
Oh.
I think she's isn't she Team Alpha Male? I think that's what it was.
I'm not quite sure her team affiliation. All I know is I saw Cortez and I was like, hi.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, no, I like her.
She's very pretty, and she went out there and kicked ass.
Yeah, she is. She's tough. She's good.
It did surprise me on the ground, though, when Kish really had nothing to offer her. Like, she would get taken down, and she would end up escaping, but it took forever.
Yeah.
I guess I just expected more, really having no idea going into this fight about either fighter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, standing up, Kish was ready to bang, but Cortez was ready too. She had Cortez had more offensive weapons, I felt, than Kish did.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel too. I think she was had like an all around better game plan than just, be tough and go at it. She actually has some kind of a strategy on her feet. But yeah, she's tough too. Like she came from the Contender Series, so you're gonna be tough to get out of there and actually get a contract from Dana White as a female too. That's hard. So we know she's tough, and I'm rooting for her. Whatever she's got coming up next.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. Yeah, we didn't have a pick for this fight, and so this fight
I would have picked Tracy Cortez though, just because I have kind of followed her. I would have picked her, so that's good to know.
I'm not going to make a pick because it doesn't matter now. So we'll move on to Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Wow, why am I just? I looked at the name and I blanked, and I was like, I've read this before. I've seen it before. I was just like, versus Jacob Malcolm.
Yeah.
And this is a fight that kind of surprised me. I kind of expected more out of Al Hassan, and no, had just striking, nothing really for Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob went in there and just out grappled him for the entire fight.
He did.
And I was like,
I was a little bored though too.
I was as well. I was just hoping that we would see more razzle dazzle, and we did not.
This whole fight card was kind of
It really was, and just because every single fight went to decision.
That does make it hard.
Not every single fight, the main card, I should say.
It makes it hard to stay interested every second,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, come on, you gotta give me something to get excited about.
Jacob got the win there. Now, we're going to progress through this fight card. You picked Arlovsky, and he got the win.
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked because he looked really good in that fight. He outdid Chase Sherman really well. I thought the youth and motivation for Sherman would have been there. I was super wrong about that. So you got the pick on that.
Yeah, you can't bet against Andrei Arlovsky, though. Well, I guess you could, but
you can.
Right now, I wouldn't. So.
Yeah, you're right. He proved me wrong. That's for sure. Sherman, okay, I sent you this picture during the fight watching it, when I was watching it back.
Oh.
That back knee, man. Are you serious? I've seen fighters.
I'm like, whoa, what? Did somebody scratch him or what happened?
I've seen fighters with back knee before. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna presume what he may or may not be doing, but his back was all like gross and looked like most of it had been popped. It looked like he went to Dr. Pimple Popper before he was like, okay, I got to go fight now.
I don't know, and I don't know how old he is, but I know the older you get, you don't really get that anymore. You're not a teenager anymore. Although there are things that you may or may not inject in your body that could cause that.
I'm not saying
I don't
nothing.
know. Maybe it's not even that. Nothing. I couldn't even tell from the picture. It looked like it though.
No, it looked gnarly. It was gross.
But have you noticed we haven't heard a whole lot about anybody getting popped anymore?
That's true.
I haven't heard anything in a long time.
It's supposed to be random, but it seems like
random. I mean, okay, random sorta.
It's supposed to be random, but some fighters are also given hints. From what I've heard, are also given like, "Hey, I've heard that before."
Okay,
but that's only rumor. So
I don't know how that works.
Some fighters find out.
Yeah, I hear how they say it's supposed to work. I don't know if that's the protocol that they actually follow, or maybe they did and now they're not. I don't know.
Well, Arlovsky went out there and performed really well. Chase Sherman didn't really have anything for him, unfortunately.
How much longer do you think Andre's going to be around? Because he keeps going and going and going. Like
You know what?
nothing affects him.
He might just die in the cage, and then he'll be the zombie pit bull.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't even say like, oh, this is his last one. No, it's not. Like he's fine. Like how long?
I wonder if he'll just run out his contract and then be done, and then maybe move on to something else.
I wonder what his contract is. I don't know. I don't know
True.
how many fights he has left. Maybe that's it.
Very true. It's Arlovsky. I mean, he's a classic favorite for some of us old school fans. So even if he went to another promotion, I'd still watch him fight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, of course.
And then we had Jeremy Stevens, his fight after the shove. His opponent went to the doctor.
He had his fight.
Yeah, he had his fight at weigh-ins. Yeah. And then that fight was scratched from the card because that fight got pulled day of.
Well,
wow.
Did you hear what happened to his opponent, though, after that? Did you see that?
Elaborate for some of the people out there.
So I heard, I mean, I've never gotten hurt like that, but I know when you have a weight cut, your body tends to be a lot weaker than it normally would. And that push was really hard. So I believe that's what happened. Probably. But isn't that crazy how that could just gave him a concussion? I mean, if you believe all the symptoms he said he was having, which came from the doctor, I think, from the hospital, a concussion from getting pushed, and technically that concussion would be from the whiplash that you get from getting pushed like that, and your body being a little weaker from your weight cut, depending how bad his weight cuts are. It must have been a bad weight cut also to be that weak, to get a full-on concussion, throwing up. He didn't even get punched in the face. He got pushed in the chest and got a little bit of whiplash and was throwing up, couldn't open his eyes, sensitive to light. That's a concussion. That's crazy.
I think that was God's way of telling him, don't fight Jeremy Stevens, because Jeremy Stevens is going to be...
If he went in there and did fight and got punched, I wonder if he would have ended up with a way worse situation than what he had.
Could have. We want all fighters to be safe, mind you. But, man, just you get shoved hard and all of a sudden, oh, you're out of the fight. Like,
but also,
really?
Why did he need to shove him that like that?
We still don't even know why they were beefing.
They didn't. I don't think they had beef. Like I said, I think they wanted to spice it up a little bit because maybe it was boring. Because I mean, yeah, nothing special about that weigh-in for that fight card. But I mean, dude, you just got your fight taken away from you from doing that. Yeah. I guess that is dangerous. I didn't realize what kind of state your body's actually in from weight cutting like that, and potentially getting.
And it does depend on the weight cut, because you have some fighters that are able to do, that are used to it and can smoothly transition with it,
or the body can handle it. Some
exactly.
people can't.
And you have some people that they're like on the verge of death, and it's awful.
I know.
Awful.
Falling over on the scale, that's bad.
Man.
But I guess. I mean, so they had their weigh-ins on Friday, right? That's normal. Yeah, Friday night, or Friday during the day, I think is what it was. So he cut weighed in, and by the time they did the ceremonial weigh-ins, his body was still pretty frail. I don't know. I wonder how long his body actually takes to even recover normally.
I have no idea. I know some fighters, what I've seen is when they try to rehydrate, they'll take the little cap, and fill that with water and slowly rehydrate. And
be careful, yeah.
I've seen some that are just like, give me water now.
Right. Yeah, everything all at once,
it just
which
depends.
Isn't good either.
Yeah. But that fight got scratched from the card. And that's why we had the other fight that replaced it that we didn't pick.
Yeah.
So
everything just got moved up though, right? I think
everything got switched around. But then we had the main event that got Fight of the Night honors. We had Robert Whitaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. This was a really exciting fight for being a unanimous decision. Yes. Whitaker looked awesome, but not to take anything away from Gastelum. Gastelum kept in there. He kept fighting, and props to him. He was beat up, but props to him to keep pushing forward to fight.
Right. Well, that's him, though. That's him. He does that. I love it. Yeah.
That was awesome. I loved
He
every
tends
minute
to
of
have
it.
the greatest fights. I know he hasn't gotten the belt or anything, but man, a lot of his fights have been really great. So I'm thankfully, since it was a decision, it went all the rounds. Thankfully, it was a really exciting fight.
Yeah, it really was. And Whitaker looked great. His striking was on. To me, it looked crisp.
Yeah.
But props to Gastelum for just staying in there and being tough.
He is really tough. I know. So Whitaker, I feel like, I mean, of course, when you have different opponents, you fight different. I just think some opponents for Whitaker makes them look really great. I mean, Gastelum was really great too. I'm not taking anything away from him. That's not my point. My point is, you've seen Whitaker fight other guys, and he didn't get to really look that crisp. He didn't get to show off everything he had or all his technique that he has. And just, I think sometimes when you get paired up with a certain opponent, you get to display that. Luckily, both of them got to do that.
Yeah, very true.
That was a really good fight.
And even though it went to decision, it was still an exciting 5-round fight.
And Whitaker needed that win too, so that was good.
Yeah.
It's good to see him still at the top. I was kind of not losing faith, but just, some of those guys that he fought, he didn't look good. Not great, and I started to kind of just overlook him. But now it's like, okay, he's definitely still up there. He's still got it. Let's see what's next.
Now, when you see this fight and him being the number one contender, of course, you may go again against Stylebender. What do you think about the matchup between them again soon, with him being the number one contender?
If that's the fight that they're gonna do, I would expect Izzy to still get it. So Izzy went up a weight class and he lost. That doesn't take away what he's done in the middleweight. So
no, not at all.
I think he might be even better because of that. Might be even better. So I would expect Izzy to win if that matchup. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen, but I would pick Izzy to win that one. And like I said, Whitaker looks good against, certain opponents. Some just kind of take a little bit away. I think Izzy would take that away from him. I think I don't think he'd look that crisp against Izzy.
True. That's why he's a style bender.
Wrong. Who am I to even say it? But that's just my opinion.
Hey, you're my striking expert, so I expect you to know. All right. And then we also have UFC 261 this weekend.
Oh, man.
3 title fights.
So excited.
I am too. So we'll start at the bottom with number 6 ranked Anthony Smith versus Jim Schrute.
Yeah. Schrute, yeah.
Okay, Schrute. I was thinking of like Dwight Schrute.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that too. Schrute Farms. Love it.
Yeah. We got these two matching up. I haven't seen Smith in a minute, but that's just because I haven't really been paying attention.
It's been a little while.
Is it really?
Yeah, I forgot the last guy he fought, but he won. Coming off of like two or three losses in a row though. So he's ranked number 6? Is that what it said?
Yeah, number 6 against number 13. A wealth of experience on the side of Smith compared to Jim.
Smith was at the top for a while. He fought John Jones.
Very true. Very true. But Jim also has a tattoo of the Rainbow Company from Resident Evil. So he's a gamer.
You're going for him?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
That's a bad company. Why would I root for that? No.
All right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. I'm a dork. They're a bad company. Let's not go for them.
All right.
I'm actually going to take Smith in this. Just the overall experience. That's always a big factor for me. And he's been in there with some of the top names ever. So yeah. I'll go with Smith.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Smith also. I'm still like on the fence with Anthony Smith. I've seen him get beat up so bad too many times, I think. I'm like, what the hell, man? He's still got, he's still up there, still got a chance. He is fighting number 13. So I'd be surprised.
He was number 6.
I'd be surprised if he lost. If he did lose, though, then I really don't know what's next for him. But I'm sure he might go down the rankings a little bit. I'm going to say Smith based off of his resume,
That's exactly what I'm going off of as well. So we both take, Smith. go ahead and move up the fight card with Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman.
What do you think
coming
about
off wins? I feel like, Weidman's been champ, and Hall, I feel like, has just kind of towed the middle.
Hall was like, I had such high hopes for Uriah Hall when he came into the UFC. He was on The Ultimate Fighter, so I was watching that.
And he did that roundhouse kick and just scored that dude.
Yeah, so everyone was like, "Oh, this is Anderson Silva, the next one," and I was like, "Okay, maybe." And then
nobody's ever the next Anderson Silva.
Yeah, and then I was so disappointed at up and downs that he had once he got into UFC. So I don't know. I think it's a good matchup though for these two guys, because I don't even remember when Chris Weidman fought last. Do you? Do you remember who he fought last?
I do not offhand.
I don't know. It's been a while. And I don't even know what he looks like now. I don't even know how he fights. I don't know. I don't have anything to go off of right now, but I would pick Chris Weidman though in this one.
You're picking Weidman?
Yeah.
He is the former champ.
Right. For a little while, he was a champ.
He still got there.
Yeah, he did.
I really don't know who to choose. Like, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place on this one. I'll go champion or previous champion though with Weidman. So
that's the best I can guess, I would say. I mean, with these two guys, I don't know. I don't even know what to go off of because it's been a while. So I'd go for Chris Weidman.
I feel like he's more the vet, especially even though.
Oh, for sure.
Hall does have. It's funny because Hall does have more fights, but I feel like, and Weidman is coming in ranked number 11 compared to Hall's number 9.
Yeah,
but I feel like Weidman has had the tougher fights. Very true.
Yeah,
but I feel like Weidman has had the bigger fights.
Yes,
so I too will take Weidman.
Okay, that's how I feel.
All right. Now we have the women's flyweight title versus its champion Valentina Shevchenko.
How dare you?
And I heard it this week too. That's what I get for not remembering it and then trying to literally read it and just be like, Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. Is it Andrade or Andrade?
Andrade, I think.
Andrade.
Yeah, that's
There's
what
no G.
That's what they say.
G. I don't care.
Brazil, they're weird sometimes with their names.
I know. Like Hoist Gracie. Hoist.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
It's Royce. Are you just gonna forget it's Royce. Henzo.
Or the R's turn into H's, don't they?
Yeah. Ridiculous. It's okay. I love my Brazilian peoples. But this is the fight we have. Number 1 versus the champ. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, obviously, Shevchenko, I'm going for her. So I think the question is how is she going to win, not if she's going to win. In my head, that's how I think. Every fight she goes into, that's how I think. And man, just every time. So I don't think it's if she's going to win. I believe she's going to win. It's just a matter of how. I think she's going to knock her out. I don't know what round. I think she's going to knock her out, though. Get a TKO or a KO for sure. That's what I think. I'm going to go for that.
All right. You know what? I will agree with you there. Both of these women's, what am I saying? Every fighter scares the bejesus out of me, but these ones especially do. Yeah, I will agree with you on that. Both fighters coming off a win. Jessica has more fight experience, but Shevchenko is the champ. So I'll just take the champ as well.
Yeah, I think also Shevchenko has all the answers for what Jessica does. Jessica is kind of like I don't want to say one-dimensional because she's not one-dimensional, but I know her striking and it's a certain way to where I think Shevchenko is so smart. She knows how to counter all that, and I think she will. That's why I think she's going to get a KO or TKO.
I feel like on the ground, Jessica has the advantage, but I also feel like because of that, she might be a slow starter.
Yeah, but also Shevchenko's not bad on the ground either. She can defend that and get right back up.
Sure.
I don't see Valentina losing anytime soon.
All right. We'll see if she retains this weekend. And then next we have the women's strawweight title up for grabs as Thug Rose. Woo woo. She's bad. Like, she's bad. Versus Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili. Man, I used to be able to read lots of Asian names and be like, I know what that is. No.
I don't know if I read it. I hear it all day. I listen to all the MMA news and stuff. It's funny. I think her first name's Wei Li and her last name is Zhang, but I think in China they go backwards.
It's backwards. Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly.
Zhang or Zhang Wei Li. So, what do you think is going to happen with this one? Yeah.
Well, I feel like this fight's going to be exciting.
Yes.
At least I hope so. I think it's going to be a wealth of experience on the champ's part. And then you have Thug Rose, who's just a bad broad. Like, she likes to go in there and go.
Well, she did beat Joanna. And Joanna had probably, I think they did call it the fight of the year overall with her and Zhang Weili when they fought. And I don't know, it's weird because you even have Jessica Andrade who's fighting Valentina, but she used to be a strawweight and she's fought all those girls too. So it's so interesting. And Jessica Andrade spiked Rose Namajunas on her head the last time. I don't know if you remember that. I think they were in Brazil and took her belt. She had the belt. And so it's so interesting. But this is like the perfect recipe for another fight like the one with Joanna also. I hope it lives up to that. But I have to pick the champ though. I've liked her ever since she started and she got the belt. I'm like, okay, she's got it, and especially after that fight with Joanna, and came out on top. I'm like, man,
when Joanna was talking all that smack about her and being super rude.
Oh, Joanna?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
She was, and it went beyond talking smack about her. It went talking about the people and everything. So yeah. I'll take the champ because she's the champ for a reason.
Are you talking about Joanna or Rose?
I'm talking about Joanna. This was the previous fight. Joanna was talking about the champ.
I don't remember what she was saying about her.
She was saying I remember she was saying some really disrespectful things.
Really? Oh, well, I don't remember.
And that's why she went in there and she's like, I'm going to beat the piss out of you. And she did.
I think that last one, that was her last fight, right? With Joanna? Was that her last fight?
I think so, but I'm not quite sure.
I could be wrong. Because she had a hell of a time getting over to the United States because COVID hit. And
yeah.
She had to get out of there fast in order to even get on a plane and leave the country. She had to go to several countries before she got to the U.S. And I think it was like right in the beginning or the middle of her training camp. She got a call. She had to pack up and leave instantly. Luckily got out. I think she spent some time in Abu Dhabi, just like a connecting ground, but she had to spend a bunch of time there, just away from home. So her and her coaches had to pack up and leave. So it was tough for her on that last one, but for her to be still tough and come out, like, that was great. Yeah.
I will say this for Rose, she does have a 3.5-inch reach advantage.
That will definitely come in handy for her.
Yes, it will. Oh, leg reach. Excuse me. I read that wrong. She has a 2-inch reach advantage and a 3.5-inch leg reach advantage. And she is more of a striker and kickboxer. I think she's still dating Pat Barry. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She's going to have some efficient striking.
Yeah, no, she does. Yeah, of course. Man, I think the champ's going to get it. Unless Rose shows up like she did to fight Joanna. I don't know. Unless she gets the next one. But, man, Joanna connects her shots too. And still, each other couldn't take each other down in their fight together. So, this one's going to be crazy. It's either going to be really crazy or something's going to happen to where it's like, well, that was fast. You know what I mean?
I hope it's something like that and not like, oh, cool. It's going to be a 5-round fight. Bathroom break.
Yeah.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope it's exciting.
Hard to tell, but this has the perfect recipe for a really good stand-up fight. So
very much so.
Yeah, I picked the champ.
I do like too.
I picked the champ. I've liked the champ ever since she came in she's been so tough the whole time. I have to pick her.
I too pick the champ. And now onto the final fight of the card. Usman versus Maspidol. Maspidol has garnered a lot of hype within the past few years. He's really built his reputation. I mean, he's been fighting in the backyards along with Kimbo Slice, years ago, but really developed into this great fighter that has been competing. Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's a vet. He's a vet.
Yeah.
Almost 50 fights. I think this will be his 50th if I do the math right, which I'm not that good at. That's why I was an English major. He's one fight away from 50 fights. This will be his 50th fight, and it'll be for the title.
But he already fought him once.
True.
He fought him already. I mean, he had no training camp for him.
Yeah, that was a quick fight, a short turnaround fight.
A 6-day notice type of fight. And was it a decision? I don't remember what they were saying.
I do not recall.
But watching back some of the clips from that fight, it seemed like Usman had all the answers. So I love Maspidol. He's one of my favorites. But for this fight, man, it's hard. What do you think? Who's your pick?
Oh, dude! Every time I see Usman, though, he's such a great athlete, and he's developed into such a great fighter.
I know
that I'm gonna have to go with Usman on this one.
I was leaning that way too. Not that I don't want to see either of these guys lose, to be honest. But that would be so cool if Jorge actually got the belt, though. I'd be so hyped. But also, I'm always a fan of people keeping their belts too. So,
he's been champ for a minute.
Yeah, and I think they keep bringing up GSP and stuff about who the more dominant welterweight was. They're comparing him to him, which I think is appropriate by now. He's been around for a long time. I don't think he gets as much respect as he should. And I don't know why.
They don't show him much love.
They don't, but he's so good though. And then nowadays, it's like we don't have GSP anymore. So who do we have? We have him. And they, what bugs me too is they keep talking about Colby Covington in their fight. They keep saying how they think he's the biggest problem for him, but I'm like, he already beat him. He broke his face.
That fight's already happened.
He broke his face.
He beat the bejesus out of him.
It wasn't a close fight. He won. That's why I'm like, why do you keep talking about that? But anyway, I'm gonna pick Usman. Not that I want to, but I think he has the best chance. Even though Jorge has a full fight camp this time, they're different style fighters. I think Usman is all around could get the edge on.
Yeah, I think he's the better just overall athlete, and I think that it benefits him more against any fighter overall, all the time. Like he's just better overall. Yeah. So we both take Usman.
I could see Usman getting a lot of takedowns in this fight.
I could too.
I expect him to.
And hopefully, Maspidol will have the answer on the ground. But that remains to be seen. Yeah, exactly. I doubt it as well.
I think he could survive on the ground for a little while. But I could see this striking match get out of hand and Usman just say, screw it, I'm going to take you down and just do it. This could be a decision. I think this could go all 5 rounds and Usman coming out on top because of takedowns. Unless someone wants to get crazy and knock someone out, which that would be great too. But I think Usman, if he wants to be smart, he can get out of this fight. He could still fight 5 rounds and he could get a bunch of takedowns and win based off points.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And so looking at it now, we're going back to the overall card. We've picked all the same picks for this fight.
Did we? Yeah, it was the same.
Yeah,
okay.
All the same. So we will see what happens next week, this weekend, when this fight card happens on pay-per-view. And we will bring it up next time and we'll discuss our picks after the fight has happened. Tonight, since there's no Bellator, we do have PFL. And that's going on actually right now on ESPN Plus.
Okay.
And so I picked 4, I believe it's supposed to be the main card, 4 of the fights that are going to be taking place tonight. I know a little bit about some of these fighters. I don't know a lot about
I don't.
all
I
of them.
haven't followed PFL. I haven't. I know a few fighters, but don't know not half as many as UFC fighters, that's for sure.
Well, to me, one of the more exciting fights is this fight right here. Bubba Jenkins versus Lance the Party Palmer.
Lance Palmer, yeah.
And Lance Palmer's been a vet for a long time. I'm actually surprised he's never been picked up by the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that. I saw him fight years ago in Bakersfield. They had it was called Fight for Wrestling, and it was to help make money for the wrestling program out in Bakersfield at the college out there.
Oh, wow.
And that's where I saw him compete. Dude's legit, great wrestler. But he's fighting another wrestler in Bubba Jenkins.
And the champ.
So, like, I don't know who to take, but Palmer's the champ. I'll take Palmer in this. Are you going to take a shot in the dark and pick somebody?
Yeah, I'll go with the champ.
Go with the champ also? All right. Oh, God, not names. Yeah, so we have...
That's funny.
I'm so over this.
You're like, I'm done. Bye.
I love my peoples, but I'm going to need some pronouncers on these names.
Oh, man. Kabulayev, looks like.
Kabulayev?
Sound like idiots here.
Right? I'll just cross my eyes. Okay. Versus Jodinovich.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try saying it.
Stodinovich.
Sure.
I know nothing about these two fighters. Obviously, I can't even pronounce their names. Let's take a shot in the dark. Who you going to pick?
Kabulayev, I guess.
You'll take Kabulayev?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
All right. And I'm going to take Stodinovich because I can somewhat pronounce his name. All right, let's just keep moving up this card.
Okay.
We have Schrute versus Held. Oh, Held. Sometimes it's nice being held.
Sometimes.
All right. This is 2 other fighters I don't know much about because, let's see. There's 3 fighters on here that I know of that we've already discussed 2 of them. And there's one more coming up. But these other fighters, unfortunately, I don't know much about. But when I watch the PFL, I'm going to learn all about them. So in this fight, who do you have?
That looks like Polish flag in the background. I'm going to go with the Polish guy.
I believe that's Held.
Okay.
And so I will take Schrute. And yeah, he looks kind of like a Brazilian Jonas brother.
That's exactly what he looks like. That's funny.
He's the Jonas brother that can beat your ass.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're on to the main event. Collard versus Pettis. Pettis, we all know from his time in the UFC, his time in the WEC, his Showtime kick, his championship runs versus Collard. I don't know anything about Collard. So this is a big opportunity for Collard to really make a name for himself and hit for mainstream audiences because everybody's expecting Pettis to probably just walk through him.
Yeah, well, Collard is a boxer. He was a boxer, so that's his background. A good boxer. But with Pettis, you have all those tricky kicks, more weapons than just boxing, of course. I don't know what Collard looks like as far as leg movement or his leg kicks and stuff like that. But I think this is gonna be a good fight. I would pick Pettis because I think he has more tools for him to use.
I do agree.
Yeah.
And I too will also pick Pettis based off of that knowledge. And just, I mean, we've seen him. He's been such a strong fighter for so long.
Yeah. I mean, he was on the Wheaties box.
Really, right. What's Collard really going to offer him? Like, he's going to have to come in there and really do some damage in order to beat Pettis.
Yeah. I agree. So I think I definitely pick Pettis for this one.
All right. So those are our fight picks for tonight and tomorrow. And now we're going to move on to something that was very heavily talked about last Saturday after Sunday when it happened. Jake Paul knocking out Ben Askren.
Are you surprised?
Yeah.
I'm not.
I am and I'm not. I expected
still don't
more.
Care.
I don't either. I expected more out of Askren than what we got.
Did you?
I did. I expected him to be tougher. I expected him to maybe weather the storm. I didn't expect him to knock him out, but I didn't expect him to get knocked out that fast.
I mean, freak show fight, kind of dumb. Fight was dumb. It was over fast. I'm glad I didn't buy it. I don't even know why it happened in the first place. I mean, if Jake Paul fought somebody else, then I would be way more interested. The fact that it was Ben Askren, it's like, can you fight? I just want to see him fight another boxer. And no one crazy. I'm not calling for him to fight a champ like Floyd Mayweather or anything like that.
Good point. But now he's in the situation where, okay, he's beat all these randos. Now he needs to beat somebody that is a boxer. He needs to fight a boxer.
Well, okay. He's only had 3 fights. He's only had 3 fights. And he beat, who was it? An NBA player? Was that who that was?
Nate Robinson, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Knock that guy out. All right. Knocked out Ben Askren. He's not a striker anyways. Never once was a boxer. Okay. That still doesn't answer any questions whatsoever. The fact that he's already had 3, that's cool. And I'm not calling for him to fight a champ, but can he just fight another boxer? Can we see that?
Somebody, even an up-and-comer?
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Any boxer, not a champ, up-and-comer. Maybe no one knows who they are. That's fine. But at least it would be an actual match to where we can see some boxing rather than a 1-2, you know?
I don't know what weight class this fight happened at, but with what I'm seeing right now with Jake Paul sitting there doing this post-fight interview, he looks like a pretty tall, like a pretty big guy.
I think I heard it was 190. I think that's what it was.
I'm sure there are some guys that are a good size like that could go in there that are boxers and lay hands with him.
Ben Askren looked in the worst shape I've ever seen him in.
Oh my gosh. That's almost like if I went in there and fought.
Man, dude.
I am in no way athletic.
I also don't know if Ben Askren, I'm still starting to doubt if Askren actually was planning on fighting. Like, was he planning on doing anything? Was he, I don't know. It didn't answer any questions.
I've heard some people just, being silly, but say, I think he took a dive.
Oh, you could say that. But also, he probably didn't take a dive. I don't think he took a dive. He's just not a boxer.
Yeah. Well, with how fast he got knocked out.
It's hard to imagine someone like Ben Askren come that far in the fighting world and not know how to evade a 1-2. I don't know. I didn't watch any of his fights before he got into UFC. I just heard about him.
He's just a wrestler. That's all he did. He would just go in there and wrestle.
And then, he had a fight with Damian Maia and he lost. I'm like, okay, what's this guy got? And not that Damian Maia's, of course anyone would lose to Damian Maia, but I just didn't get to see Ben Askren do anything that he was known for either in the UFC, really. And then, of course, you've seen that terrible knockout with Maspidol. I don't know what to think about. Like, for someone that didn't know him before he came to UFC, I don't think very much of this guy anyway, which sucks because everyone else loves him, and all the wrestling fans, of course. But I didn't answer any questions. I'd rather not see him fight ever again. He's already retired. He had a bunch of surgeries and stuff. I don't know, man.
I completely agree. Phenomenal wrestler, but that time has passed, and I'm okay if he doesn't fight again.
But even in UFC, it's like, okay, I could see like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, both strikers. That's a fight to make, I guess. I didn't like it at the time, but it made way more sense than what just happened this last weekend. I don't know. And then I also hear a lot of people saying like, well, it wasn't a real boxing match. It's just kind of like a freak show type of thing. And yeah, it was a freak show type of thing, but even for a freak show, it was a little pointless for me. I don't know.
Yeah, and I like that stuff, but I was anticipating a little bit more out of it than what we got, because we just got a pretty quick knockout. First round knockout, and that was it. And Frank Mir was on the card. He lost, I want to say, by decision, which I thought he was completely off the card because Tarver wasn't able to get licensed. That was who he was supposed to fight, was Antonio Tarver.
That's what I heard. So he was still on the card?
He was still on the card. He fought, and I want to say he lost by decision.
Oh.
So
I didn't know they even got a replacement. I just thought he was off of the card.
Yeah, I did too. So I was like,
I didn't watch the card. I watched the Jake Paul one. That was the only one that I watched. Did you see him talking shit with Woodley in the back?
I heard about that. The only thing I saw was just the highlights after where Ben Askren was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm glad that debacle's over, but we shall see what happens as the Jake Paul dynasty continues. Oh, I don't even want to say it like that.
Can they just give him a boxer, though? Any boxer, not a champ.
Like, let's move on with that. Like, yeah, he needs to progress as a fighter. Of course, we're going to talk about his freak show fights.
Maybe that's not even his plan. Maybe he just wants to do these little stupid.
Maybe because he makes money and he has these fans that are like, oh, well, we love him regardless. And it's like, okay, youngster, and you just want to pat him on the head.
I was listening to a podcast. I forgot who it was, but they were talking major shit on this fight card. They call it a celebrity rehab boxing match with all the old celebrities that were.
The thing is,
everyone that was on the table.
I love celebrity rehab. I love Dr. Drew. So I'm like all about it. But I'm not going to pay money to it.
Come back and all that.
Hey, let him fight De La Hoya. Catch weight. Okay. There you go.
All right.
Could be a good test. All right, and then let's move back to the UFC. Some information came out this week that John Jones was going to. The idea was for him to fight Francis Ngannou, but negotiations fell through
completely. I feel like no negotiations fall through until one of them is not fighting anymore. So
yeah, but he wanted $30 million to fight Ngannou.
Okay, but I don't know what he normally gets paid. I don't know what.
I don't either. I feel like he probably makes a couple million. I don't think UFC even makes $30 million off of a fight card anymore.
I was just gonna say, do they have even that kind of money to pay him anyways? I mean, of course, the fight's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. There's gonna be a lot of people watching. They're gonna make their money for sure. But how much of that profit of UFC's do they want to hand over to John Jones just for doing this? I would like to think they have well enough money to do it. I just don't know if they do or not. But $30 million seems like a lot to ask for an MMA fight. Even $1 million is a lot to get paid for an MMA fight.
Which is sad because a fight like this, that is $1 million fight. He should be getting a couple mil for this. $30 million, I feel like that's a little extensive, but that's me.
A lot.
But like maybe $3 million, $4 million, I don't feel like that's out of the realm of possibility.
Below 10, I would. This is just my best guess. Below 10 million, anywhere between there, I think maybe they could work that out. But 30, I don't know how much. But also, I don't know if John Jones knows what UFC makes. Maybe he does know, and maybe it is legit to ask for 30 million. We don't know. I don't think it's that high, but that's a lot. I don't know what his strategy is here. I don't know if he actually wants to fight or not. Maybe he just doesn't want to, and for them to get him to do it, it would take 30 million to make it worth it for him. I don't know.
Maybe, or maybe he's like, I got to pay lawyers. I got to pay these.
He's got some baggage to pay off, apparently. You know, so, I get that. I think he should get paid a lot more for moving up to heavyweight. Of course, to fight Francis, maybe throw in some extra for fighting Francis. But 30, I'm not informed enough about what UFC makes on their biggest fight cards or not.
I don't think 30 million. He should get 30 million. I think he should get paid a couple million.
Those sound like boxing wages. You know?
Exactly. Maybe he could fight Jake Paul.
Oh man, in the cage.
That'd be interesting.
It wouldn't. It actually wouldn't be interesting. It'd be very
watch it because I'd be like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be real good. Especially in the cage. Oh, Jake Paul get eaten up.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, Ronda Rousey has announced that she is pregnant. So congratulations to her and her husband, Travis Brown, on their the upcoming addition to their family.
They're both retired, right?
I believe so. Ronda Rousey, Travis Brown is done in the UFC. Ronda Rousey was done in the UFC and then went to pro wrestling. And I want to say she did that. Yeah, she did that for about a year and then left that.
She left that. Okay.
So she's been gone for quite some time. I believe it was to start a family, and now they both are. So congrats to them.
You know, they're like a couple of doomsday preppers, though. Did you know that?
I know they have a farm, but I didn't know they were like doomsday preppers.
They were. I forgot what I was watching. Maybe it was on YouTube or something, or an episode of something. But they gave a tour of like their farm, their house that they got going, and like their main point was like they're trying to sustain living if the apocalypse happens. I thought that was a little wild. Not totally unsmart to stock up on things, especially with COVID, because we saw what happened with that. But I feel like they're a little more over the line with that than say a normal person would be. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of folks like that out there.
I didn't know that they're both like that, though. They're like raising their own animals to eat their own animals, you know, live off their own land the most as possible. So I thought that was cool, but a little over the top. But I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, I'm not. They were trying to start a family, and so I'm glad that they are finally able to. They've taken that step to start a family. So congrats to them. And
that also means we're not going to hear anything about them as far as fighting goes ever again, probably.
No. We'll talk about Ronda Rousey in passing. We'll talk about Travis Brown in passing. That's about it.
Yeah.
Unless all of a sudden Ronda Rousey's like Misha Tate, and like, I've had kids, I want to fight. But I don't think so. She's been gone for so long. I don't even think she's thinking about that.
So sure about leaving. There's no way she's coming back. That's not even a question anymore.
And I don't think she'll be back in pro wrestling either, because
I don't think so either.
She's dogged some of the fans of pro wrestling, and pro wrestling fans, we're okay with making fun of each other, but if you're not really a wrestling fan, don't make fun of us. So I feel like she's been shunned by the pro wrestling community.
That's funny. I don't think they liked her to begin with anyway, though.
I didn't, and I like MMA and I like pro wrestling. And I was like, okay, Ronda Rousey in pro wrestling? No.
I heard she was a little spoiled there, and
yes, she was.
Really handle the hard. I heard that.
She was.
The other girls weren't too happy with her requesting a bunch of time off, which isn't time off. They just have a crazy schedule, and she was kind of upset about it, and they were kind of making fun of her, saying, "Oh, you can't handle this."
Can't hang with it, yeah. Which I completely understand that. But then there's also the former fighter Shayna Baszler. She fought. I don't know if you know of her. She probably got out of fighting when you were really starting to get into it.
Oh, probably, yeah.
She was like one of the first female fighter, not first female fighter. I shouldn't say it like that. How can I explain it? She was a female fighter that had been around for quite some time. Not since like the dark age, but she had been competing for quite some time. She was on the Ultimate Fighter. She didn't perform very well in the Ultimate Fighter. and kind of just phased out of the UFC. And that was like her last ditch effort. She was heavily favored, though, based off of her experience. She was expected to come in and just be amazing. But it didn't work out, and she got into wrestling. And there, I feel like she's actually scarier. She brings a lot more authenticity to her being her in pro wrestling compared to Ronda Rousey. Everyone knows Ronda Rousey, but I'm more afraid of Shayna Baszler in pro wrestling than I am of Ronda Rousey in pro wrestling.
Yeah, I feel like Ronda Rousey, that was just a backup thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just a cash grab. It was a cash grab.
It was a lot of money. So
get that money.
For them to actually give her a special treatment, she, you know that they were in favor of her to begin with. So whatever, let her do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I'm not a fan of pro wrestling, but if that's what they want to do, I didn't realize how much money that brings in. So if that's what they want to do, then good for them, get paid, you know.
Oh yeah. No, I'm all about that. I just, when she was there, I was like, eh.
I don't think anyone was too excited about her being there.
I don't think so either.
Especially the original pro wrestling fans, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. SOGs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the MMA Mainstream Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.